Caitlin Clark officially slams the door shut on Project B, unrivaled in all of these other leagues. She didn't hold back. She let it be known. I ain't rocking with none of these other.
Nobody expected Caitlin Clark to respond like this. Fans thought she'd stay quiet, keep it professional, maybe let the noise fade away. But instead, Caitlin stepped forward and made it clear she wasn't holding back anymore. Her response to what's now being called Project B instantly sent shockwaves through the basketball world, and within minutes, social media was on fire trying to decode every word, every tone, every hidden message. For weeks, rumors had been swirling. Whispers behind the scenes. Subtle media pushes. Conversations fans weren't supposed to hear. Project B was being framed as the future, the next phase, something quietly moving forward without her name attached. And that's what made this moment so explosive. Caitlin didn't just respond, she challenged the narrative. Calm on the surface, but sharp where it mattered, her words landed like a warning shot. What stunned people most wasn't anger, it was confidence. Caitlin spoke like someone who knows exactly who she is, what she's built, and what she brings to the game. No panic, no hesitation, just clarity. And that clarity forced everyone to stop and ask, why would something this big move forward without the very player who changed the game? Fans immediately began questioning motives, timing, and who really benefits from Project B. The internet split instantly. Some praised her for finally speaking her truth. Others accused her of rocking the boat. But even critics had to admit one thing: this response changed everything. Old interviews started resurfacing. Past comments suddenly sounded different. And decisions that once seemed harmless were now being re-examined under much harsher light. When Caitlin Clark speaks, the entire basketball ecosystem listens, whether they like it or not. What makes this moment even bigger is what she didn't say. There were pauses, carefully chosen words, lines that felt intentional, almost like she was setting the stage for something more. Fans aren't just reacting, they're anticipating. Because when someone at the center of the sport finally stops playing defense and starts speaking openly, it usually means the story behind the scenes is much deeper than anyone realized. This wasn't just a response. It was a statement. It was a line in the sand. And if Project B was supposed to move quietly, Caitlin Clark just made sure that wasn't possible anymore. When Caitlin Clark finally spoke up, it wasn't loud, it wasn't messy, but it was powerful enough to shake the entire conversation around women's basketball. For weeks, fans noticed something different. Subtle reactions, body language, short answers where longer ones used to be. Then came Project B, a phrase that started circulating quietly among insiders before exploding across social media. Most people assumed Caitlin would ignore it, stay neutral, or let others speak for her like athletes are often expected to do. But instead, she chose a different route. She didn't hold back. And the way she responded made it clear this wasn't just about basketball anymore. Caitlin Clark has been under a microscope unlike almost any athlete in recent memory. Every move she makes is analyzed, every word clipped, every reaction turned into a headline. From college dominance to the professional spotlight, she's carried expectations, criticism, and praise all at once. But Project B changed the tone. Fans began questioning whether certain narratives were being pushed intentionally.
By the Project B League at all? And do you have plans to take part in it? And if not, what do you think of it more broadly?
Yeah, I mean, I plan to play in the WNBA. Obviously, that's another thing that we need to get done, so we have a season coming up here. But I think more than anything, it showcases what people think of women's basketball. All of these different opportunities, all these different leagues. The platform that they want to give women's basketball, where they think women's basketball is going to continue to grow. I think that's probably the thing that pops into my mind, is just that of like, people are really believing and putting their money where their mouth is, and that hasn't always been the case for women's basketball, no matter how great it's been over the course of the last 25, 30 years. And so I think for myself, that's probably what I'm most proud of, is just how excited and people are to really invest and want to support women's basketball more than anything.
Thank you.
Yep.
Narratives about favoritism, image control, and who gets protected versus who gets challenged. At first, it felt like background noise. But when Caitlin finally addressed it, the room shifted. Her response wasn't emotional, it was controlled, direct, and confident. That's what made it hit harder. Instead of denying the conversation existed, Caitlin acknowledged it. Instead of deflecting, she reframed it. She spoke about preparation, respect, and the reality of competition. But between the lines, many heard something else: frustration with being placed inside boxes she never asked for. Her words suggested that she's aware of how narratives are built, how stories are shaped, and how quickly public perception can be manipulated. And when an athlete at her level shows that kind of awareness, it sends a message not just to fans, but to the entire system around the sport. What made this moment so significant was timing. Women's basketball is at a turning point. Viewership is up. Attention is global. But with growth comes tension about marketing, opportunity, and who benefits most from the spotlight. Project B became a symbol of that tension. Some see it as progress. Others see it as imbalance. And Caitlin's response landed right in the middle, forcing people to confront questions they were avoiding. Was she being elevated at the expense of others? Or was she simply performing at a level that demanded attention? Her words didn't attack anyone directly, but they made it clear she wasn't comfortable being used as a narrative tool. Fans immediately picked up on the shift. Social media reactions weren't just supportive, they were reflective. People began revisiting old clips, old interviews, old moments where Caitlin appeared to downplay praise or redirect credit. Suddenly, her consistency made sense. She wasn't avoiding confidence, she was avoiding controversy. And Project B may have been the moment where she decided silence was no longer the best option. When an athlete realizes that staying quiet allows others to define the story, speaking up becomes necessary, even if it invites backlash. What's undeniable is that this response elevated Caitlin Clark beyond just highlights and stat lines. It positioned her as someone who understands the business side of sports, the media side, and the cultural weight she carries. That's not something you can train for. It comes from experience, from being talked about, doubted, praised, and questioned all at once. Her response didn't escalate drama, but it didn't shut it down either. Instead, it forced a pause. And in today's sports culture, a pause can be more powerful than a headline. As the clip continued circulating, analysts and former players weighed in. Some praised her maturity. Others warned that speaking too openly can invite unnecessary pressure.
These leagues are great, but at the end of the day, like, if you don't have the W, you don't have the platform.
Right.
So you don't have the eyes, you don't have the recognition.
That's right, Caitlin Clark.
No, yeah.
You have the W.
Yeah. I tried to get her to like play in this one. She's like, no.
But that's the cost of leadership, especially when you didn't ask to be labeled as one. Caitlin Clark didn't create Project B, but by responding the way she did, she made it impossible to ignore. And now, the conversation isn't just about her performance, it's about fairness, narrative control, and what it really means to be the face of a rapidly changing sport. And this was only part one of the reaction. Because when Caitlin Clark speaks once, the echoes don't stop there. They ripple through locker rooms, media desks, and fan bases everywhere. What happens next won't just affect her, it could reshape how women's basketball conversations are handled moving forward. Social media quickly became the battleground. Supporters praised Clark for standing her ground, calling her response refreshing and necessary in an era where athletes are constantly analyzed, marketed, and redirected by outside forces. They argued that her comments showed maturity beyond her years, a clear signal that she's not just a generational talent on the court, but a leader who understands her value off it as well. To them, this wasn't disrespect or arrogance, it was self-awareness. On the other side, critics accused her of being too blunt, suggesting that her response could strain relationships or invite unnecessary pressure at a crucial stage of her career. The divide revealed something bigger than one statement. It exposed how uncomfortable people still are when confident athletes, especially young ones, refuse to play along quietly. What added fuel to the fire was the timing. Project B had been gaining momentum, with narratives forming about what it represented and where Clark fit into it. Her response disrupted that momentum entirely. Instead of the conversation being about future plans or external expectations, it snapped back to autonomy. Who gets to decide what an athlete represents, and when? Analysts began pointing out that Clark's comments may have been less about rejection and more about boundaries. In modern sports culture, where branding, movements, and initiatives often move faster than athletes can process, setting boundaries becomes an act of control. Clark's message, whether people liked it or not, made one thing clear: she refuses to be spoken for. Former players and media veterans weighed in, noting that moments like this often define careers long before championships do. They argued that fans remember when an athlete first shows they're willing to push back. Not recklessly, but firmly. Clark didn't attack Project B directly, nor did she dismiss its supporters. Instead, she reframed the conversation around herself, her goals, her timing, and her focus. That distinction matters.
All right, so you heard it. She's not thinking about no damn Project B. She said, I'm playing in the WNBA. Point blank.
It signaled professionalism rather than rebellion, even if the delivery felt sharp. And in doing so, she forced everyone watching to adjust their expectations of her, not just as a scorer or playmaker, but as someone shaping her own legacy in real time. Another layer that emerged was the gendered reaction to her confidence. Many supporters pointed out that similar responses from male athletes are often praised as leadership, while women face harsher scrutiny for the same tone. The debate around Clark's words quickly expanded into a broader conversation about how women in sports are expected to balance confidence with likability. Clark's refusal to soften her message challenged that expectation directly. Whether intentional or not, her response became symbolic, not just about Project B, but about agency in women's sports as a whole. That symbolism is part of why the moment felt huge to so many watching. As the dust settled, one thing became undeniable: Caitlin Clark shifted the narrative. The conversation was no longer controlled by speculation, projections, or outside agendas. It was centered on her voice. And regardless of where people stand on Project B, that shift carries weight. Moments like this don't fade quickly, they echo. They influence how teams, media, and fans interact with athletes moving forward. Clark didn't just respond, she reset the terms of the discussion. And in doing so, she reminded everyone that greatness isn't only measured by points on the scoreboard, but by the ability to speak with clarity when the spotlight is brightest. The aftermath of Caitlin Clark's explosive response to Project B has left fans, analysts, and the sports world reeling, with conversations swirling around not just her words, but the weight they carry for her reputation and the ongoing narrative of the league. By the time her statement circulated widely, it was clear that Caitlin was not holding back, and the intensity of her response immediately sent shockwaves across social media. Analysts dissected every sentence, interpreting tone, intent, and underlying messages, while fans debated whether she was simply defending herself or strategically asserting dominance over a situation that had tried to paint her in a different light. Every clip, interview snippet, and social media post became a piece of the puzzle, analyzed frame by frame, as people sought to understand exactly what Caitlin meant and what impact it could have moving forward. One of the most striking elements of her response was the balance of confidence and clarity. She didn't stumble over her words, and there were no vague references or attempts to deflect. Instead, Caitlin's approach seemed deliberate. She acknowledged the controversy, addressed it head-on, and reframed the narrative on her terms. For many fans, this level of control over public moments signified maturity, focus, and a keen understanding of media dynamics. Commentators noted how rare it is for athletes, especially in high-pressure environments, to respond in a way that combines assertiveness with composure. The response wasn't just defensive, it was a statement, a recalibration of the story that Project B had tried to push. The fallout was immediate. Social media platforms erupted with reactions ranging from admiration to skepticism. Some praised Caitlin for speaking with such authority and clarity, seeing her as someone who would not let narratives about her career be manipulated or misrepresented. Others questioned whether the timing and delivery of her statements were entirely calculated, suggesting that the response itself might become a strategic tool to control fan perception and media coverage. Regardless of perspective, the consensus was clear. Caitlin Clark's words were impossible to ignore. She had taken control of a story that had threatened to distract from her focus, turning potential criticism into an opportunity to assert her position in the league and in the eyes of fans. Industry insiders and former athletes weighed in, providing context that added another layer to the story. They explained that Project B, while ostensibly minor in scope, represented a broader challenge: public perception, media framing, and the pressure of expectations. Caitlin's response, they argued, was more than just a defense. It was a lesson in maintaining professional poise and strategically managing public narratives. The ability to remain composed while delivering a strong, unequivocal message demonstrated not only her maturity but also her awareness of the stakes involved in a high-profile career. The response resonated not just with fans, but with professionals who understand how media controversies can shape long-term trajectories. Meanwhile, fans dissected every angle of the exchange. Social media threads analyzed her choice of words, body language, and the implications for both Project B and her ongoing career. Comparisons were drawn between this response and past incidents involving other athletes, highlighting how Caitlin's approach stood out for its confidence and clarity. Memes, reaction videos, and commentary posts circulated rapidly, creating a digital feedback loop that amplified the impact of her words. It became clear that the conversation would not end quickly. Every day brought new reactions, reinterpretations, and debates about her strategy, tone, and intent. The larger lesson from this moment extends beyond a single controversy. Caitlin Clark's handling of Project B illustrates the power of direct, confident communication in managing public narratives. It demonstrates how carefully crafted responses can turn potential distractions into opportunities, and how athletes who understand media dynamics can protect both their reputation and their focus. By controlling the narrative, Caitlin not only addressed the immediate controversy but also reinforced her position as a figure capable of navigating high-pressure environments with strategic awareness and emotional intelligence. Ultimately, Caitlin's response to Project B marks a defining moment in her career. It serves as a reminder that in modern sports, success is measured not only on performance but also on the ability to manage perception, respond strategically to challenges, and maintain authority over one's own story. Fans, analysts, and insiders alike are left watching closely, knowing that her words have shifted the conversation and set a standard for how athletes can assert themselves in moments of public scrutiny. Caitlin Clark's approach demonstrates that clarity, confidence, and strategy are just as essential off the court as skill and talent are on it. This moment has set the stage for ongoing discussion, speculation, and analysis, ensuring that her response will be referenced for months to come as an example of how to navigate controversy with authority and precision. The ripple effect of Caitlin Clark's response to Project B has continued to expand, drawing attention not only from fans but also from the wider sports community, commentators, and industry insiders. As the conversation unfolded, it became evident that her reaction was not a fleeting moment of frustration, but a calculated assertion of control over her narrative. By addressing the issue directly, Caitlin reframed the discussion, shifting focus from criticism and speculation to her own perspective and authority. In doing so, she highlighted a key lesson for athletes navigating public scrutiny. Perception is as critical as performance, and mastering the conversation off the court can be as decisive as skill on it. The public's response has been intense and multifaceted. Social media erupted with commentary, memes, and analytical threads, each dissecting her words, tone, and delivery. Fans praised her for clarity and assertiveness, celebrating how she refused to be cornered or misrepresented. Many interpreted the response as a demonstration of maturity and self-confidence, particularly in an environment where young athletes are frequently subjected to intense scrutiny and media narratives designed to provoke controversy. At the same time, critics suggested that the timing and delivery of her response might have been carefully orchestrated, designed not only to address Project B but also to maintain her competitive edge in public perception. Whether authentic or strategic, her words resonated widely, igniting debates across platforms and keeping the conversation alive well beyond the initial controversy. Industry insiders and analysts have been particularly attentive, recognizing that Caitlin's handling of Project B offers broader lessons about career management and reputation control. In professional sports, public perception can influence sponsorship opportunities, media coverage, and even relationships within teams or leagues. Caitlin's ability to address the controversy without escalating it or compromising her composure demonstrates a high level of strategic thinking, signaling to observers that she understands the importance of maintaining authority over both her image and her narrative. This approach also underscores the significance of emotional intelligence, patience, and self-awareness in navigating public controversies, qualities that often distinguish successful athletes from those whose careers are disrupted by off-court distractions. The conversation has also prompted discussions about the pressures faced by young athletes, particularly women, in highly publicized sports environments. Caitlin's response serves as a case study in managing scrutiny without allowing external narratives to dominate personal and professional identity. Commentators highlighted that Project B, though minor in scale, represented a symbolic challenge, a moment where public perception could easily undermine confidence or distract from performance. Caitlin's decisive response not only neutralized the immediate impact but also reinforced her broader reputation as a focused, self-assured competitor capable of navigating complex situations with clarity. Fans have remained deeply engaged, sharing clips, analyses, and reaction content that keep the topic trending. Memes and breakdowns illustrating her tone, gestures, and phrasing have circulated widely, amplifying her message and solidifying public recognition of her authority. Comparisons to similar situations in the careers of other athletes emphasize how rare it is for young players to successfully reclaim control over narratives without intensifying controversy. Caitlin's example highlights the intersection of media literacy, personal branding, and athletic skill, demonstrating that influence in the modern sports world extends far beyond the playing field. Moreover, Caitlin's handling of the situation has broader implications for how athletes approach social media interactions and media coverage. In an era where stories can spread globally in minutes, the ability to respond effectively and strategically is a critical skill. Her measured yet assertive approach shows that addressing controversy head-on, while maintaining composure and control over messaging, can turn a potential distraction into an opportunity to reinforce credibility and authority. For younger athletes and fans alike, this provides a blueprint for navigating public scrutiny. Confidence, clarity, and precision can diffuse potential controversies and reinforce long-term professional reputation. Ultimately, the aftermath of Project B is not just a momentary incident. It is a defining point in Caitlin Clark's career. By asserting control over her narrative, she has demonstrated leadership, emotional intelligence, and strategic foresight, reinforcing her position as a prominent figure in sports both on and off the court. The lessons from her response resonate beyond this single controversy, offering insight into the ways in which athletes can navigate media attention, protect personal integrity, and maintain focus amid intense public scrutiny. As the sports world continues to dissect her response and project the long-term impact on her career, one thing is clear: Caitlin Clark has not only addressed a controversy but has also set a standard for how athletes can assert control over their stories, turning a moment of potential distraction into an opportunity for empowerment and reputation management. Fans, analysts, and peers will continue to reference this moment as an example of how confidence, clarity, and strategic communication can shape perception and influence the trajectory of a young athlete's career. As the dust began to settle around Caitlin Clark's response to Project B, it became increasingly clear that the moment represented more than just a single controversy. It was a defining point in her career, a showcase of her ability to manage public perception with strategic precision and emotional intelligence. What made her response remarkable wasn't just the content of her words, but the timing, tone, and clarity that conveyed confidence without aggression. In an era where young athletes are constantly scrutinized, her approach set her apart, signaling to fans, analysts, and industry insiders that she understands the high stakes of modern media environments. The long-term implications of this moment are significant. By addressing the controversy head-on, Caitlin not only neutralized Project B's impact but also reinforced her authority over her own narrative. Analysts note that athletes who fail to manage public perception often find their reputations shaped by external voices, media, fans, or rivals, rather than their own performance and decisions. Caitlin's proactive approach flipped that dynamic. She reclaimed the story, framing it on her terms, and demonstrated that clear, confident communication can be as powerful a tool as athletic talent. In doing so, she set an example for other athletes navigating similar scrutiny, Professionalism, focus, and assertive communication are essential for protecting both career and personal brand. Public reaction continued to evolve, reflecting the complexity of her influence. Fans celebrated her assertiveness, emphasizing that speaking with clarity in the face of criticism is a rare and valuable skill. Memes, commentary threads, and viral clips highlighted her composure, reinforcing the perception that she had turned a potentially damaging situation into a moment of empowerment. At the same time, critics and skeptics dissected her statements for subtle implications, questioning whether her response was spontaneous or calculated. Yet regardless of intent, the outcome was the same. She regained control over the narrative and solidified her presence as a confident and strategic athlete. Project B, once seen as a minor controversy, now functions as a case study in media management and personal branding. Caitlin's handling demonstrates how young athletes can transform challenges into opportunities for growth and visibility. By remaining composed, responding assertively, and addressing the issue directly, she mitigated reputational risk while also educating audiences on the importance of measured communication. This approach also underscores the broader lesson that in the modern sports landscape, off-court actions, media interactions, and public responses are integral to long-term career success. How an athlete navigates scrutiny can influence sponsorships, team dynamics, and public perception just as much as performance statistics. Mentally and emotionally, Caitlin's ability to maintain composure under pressure speaks to her resilience. Athletes often face simultaneous challenges, performing at the highest level, managing personal relationships, and handling public narratives. For young players in high-visibility positions, any misstep can be amplified. Caitlin's response demonstrated that emotional control and strategic thinking are as critical as skill on the court. She modeled a path forward for athletes dealing with controversies, emphasizing that clear, confident communication can prevent minor incidents from escalating and can preserve focus and performance. As conversations around Project B continue, the story serves as a blueprint for best practices in crisis management within sports. Caitlin Clark's approach highlights 3 key lessons. First, address controversy head-on rather than avoiding it. Second, maintain composure and clarity, avoiding defensiveness or aggression. And third, use public statements as a tool to reframe narratives strategically. By following these principles, athletes can safeguard their reputations, assert authority over their stories, and maintain credibility among fans and peers. Ultimately, Caitlin Clark's response to Project B reinforces her position not just as a talented athlete, but as a figure capable of navigating the complexities of fame, media scrutiny, and public perception. Her words turned potential distraction into opportunity, showcasing her ability to manage both her athletic career and her personal narrative. As fans, commentators, and future generations of athletes reflect on this moment, it will likely serve as a reference point for how confidence, strategy, and emotional intelligence can shape public discourse, influence perception, and protect the trajectory of a career in the highly visible world of professional sports. This moment may fade from headlines, but its lessons will endure. Caitlin Clark has proven that in the modern sports era, skill alone is not enough. Communication, narrative control, and strategic composure are equally essential. For those watching, it is a reminder that challenges can become defining moments, that controversy can be transformed into credibility, and that mastery of both game and image is what separates extraordinary athletes from the rest. The world just witnessed Caitlin Clark's most powerful response yet, and you do not want to miss what happens next. Project B tried to put her on the defensive, but Caitlin turned the narrative around with unmatched confidence, clarity, and strategy. Fans everywhere are dissecting her words, debating every move, and reacting to the bold way she reclaimed control over her story. If you want to stay ahead of every update, every analysis, and every reaction, now is the time to subscribe and turn on notifications. Don't miss a single moment as we break down her statements, reveal the hidden context behind Project B, and explore what this means for her career and influence. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Did Caitlin crush the controversy or just play it smart? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over, and the next revelation will blow the sports world wide open.